Welcome to the budget zone where you can get your magic fix for the day without spending too much money. We pride ourselves with deck tech videos on a budget here on YouTube, so please subscribe and stay tuned for more future videos just like this one. Today's deck tech review is Mono Black Burn for the Pauper format, costing you just under $20 for paper and under $7 for mtgo. This deck is crazy and only runs 2 copies of Crypt Rats for creatures in the entire setup. The ability tap X damage to each creature and each player. Spend only black mana on X. This is all you need for creatures in this deck, especially when we finally get into how the real synergy works in this deck. Creatures are not really the win condition of this deck anyway. Let's get into some of the spicy spells in this deck uses to scare the opponent. You are going to be running 4 copies of Bump in the Night, which costs 1 black mana. Target opponent loses 3 life. And with a flashback cost of 1 red 5 colorless, this spell can come back in late game and hurt the opponent even further. You are going to want to combine cards such as Duress with Soul Reap to take advantage of the card's ability on Soul Reap. Destroy target non-green creature. Its controller loses 3 life if you've cast another black spell this turn. Pretty much if you use Duress, which allows you to target the opponent's hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card and you're getting rid of an opponent's card in hand and doing 3 damage to their life points all in the same turn. Pretty gross combination of cards. The deck also uses cards such as 4 copies of Sovereign's Bite to have them lose 3 and you gain 3, as well as 4 copies of Vampire's Kiss, they lose 2, you gain 2, and you also get 2 blood tokens to allow card draw later after paying 1 and sacrificing it. It gets better by taking advantage of the Madness ability on the 4 copies of Alms of the Vein. You hit your opponent for 3 and you gain 3 for the cost of 1 black mana. This deck deals so much damage to your opponent's life directly that even when your opponent has creatures, they do not matter. This deck gets political as well, running 4 copies of Tyrant's Choice, a sorcery that states will of the council. Starting with you, each player votes for death or torture. If death gets more votes, each opponent sacrifices a creature. If torture gets more votes or the vote is tied, each opponent loses 4 life. It's a win-win here since you have so much life gain throughout the duration of the game itself. If you need card draw or just want to quickly win the game if your opponent's life is low, you can always use the card Sign in Blood, running 4 copies of this with the cost of 2 black mana. It states target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. To punish the opponent even more, using the 4 copies Contaminated Ground, Enchanted Land is a swamp. Whenever Enchanted Land becomes tapped, its controller loses 2 life. So pretty much you're punishing them for using their own lands. This is worse than land destruction. For any creatures that do bother you, 2 copies of Clawing Torment should help. This card states enchant artifact or creature. As long as enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets 1/1 and can't block. Enchanted permanent has at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life. So for how long they use the creature or artifact, they lose 1 life every turn. Finally, that last thing this deck does, it takes advantage of a saga called Okiba Reckoner Raid, running 4 copies of this because it only costs 1 black mana. It states, as this saga enters and after your draw step, add a lore counter. 1, 2, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. 3, exile this saga, then return it to the battlefield transformed under your control. It becomes a 2/2 rat with menace, making it unlockable by single creatures. If you are interested in this deck, I will leave the information down below. If you want to see more videos like this one, then please drop a comment down below. Before I go, I wanted to ask the viewers one question. Using Pauper rules for mtg, what cards would you add to make this deck even better than what it is? Drop the card ideas in the comment section and be featured in the next video.